Hi everybody, welcome back to Laaleebee Knits. My name is Natalie, I'm a knitter based in Belfast in Northern Ireland. You're very welcome if you haven't been here before. This is a little sporadic knitting podcast where I share what I've been working on, mostly knitting, what I'm crafting. I'm a big reader as well, so I'll maybe chit chat about some books that I've been reading recently. But you're very welcome. I have quite a bit of knitting to share with you today because it's been a little while. Let's get into it. Look at my cute little bow in the background, by the way. I think that's called the December bow by Petite Knit, I think. I knit it in December. But yeah, she's cute sitting there. Can't really see the definition, but anyway. Yeah, I've got lots of knitting to share with you. It's been very hot here, not unseasonably, hotter than usual for Northern Ireland. We usually get at most 20 degrees sometimes. It's been hot. It hasn't really fallen below 18, 19, 20 the whole of July, which is unheard of here, really. So it's been a lot. And you know, I don't do well in the heat. Oh, I'm back in my squeaky chair. Yes, so the knitting has been a little sporadic. I actually have done some knitting surgery since the last time I spoke to you, so I'll chat through that as well. But let's get started with the goods. So, first thing is a finished object, and I'm very proud of this, and I haven't actually worn it since I finished it. I don't think I blocked it even, because I popped it in my little podcast bag, and as you know, it's been a little while, but I finished my Cumulus t-shirt. This is a Petite Knit pattern. It is knit out of Knitting for Olive pure silk, held single. And last time I spoke about it, I mentioned that I was knitting, I think, the biggest size. It's not very size inclusive. Literally the day after I said that and posted that podcast, she updated the pattern with bigger sizes. So that's very nice. Obviously it's nothing to do with what I've said. She's obviously received that feedback quite frequently that, you know, her sizing could be more inclusive than it was. So this is a top down raglan tee. The bigger sizes have this little part to accommodate your bust. It's finished off with an I-cord edge the whole way around, so you pick that up afterwards, which does mean, would you believe I have 3 English degrees? No, you would not. It does mean that it curls in a little touch, but whatever. And then finish off the sleeves. I didn't do the sleeves as long as she said, because the way these are falling on me, they're falling quite nicely. And it's finished off with a little I-cord edge at the bottom as well. So I do need to get this blocked. I can't remember what the colour is. I don't think there are very many whites. It's not like a very glaringly obvious white, but it is beautiful. I love this. I love how it fits. I didn't make too many adjustments. I think maybe what I did was I used the recommended needle size to... Actually, I didn't use the recommended needle size. Let me look at my notes. I had already knit a top in a little camisole in this yarn, and I like the fabric that I got from that. So I used the same needle, and I'm sure, I'm not very organised, but I'm sure I put it on the PDF itself. Cumulus T. Let's see what needle I used. Oh, I did. I used a 3mm needle and a 2.5mm needle, which is recommended. And I really like the fabric that it gave me. I think once I finished here, after the bust, I went up a needle size to 3.25. just because I wanted that A-line shape without making any adjustments, and that's just the proportions of my body. My torso is a little bigger, and so I really like the fit. I really like the fabric. This was a slow knit. 3mm needles is painful, to be quite honest. It did get boring in the stockinette part, but this was very much a project rather than a process. So that is my cumulus tee, and I'm so excited to wear this. I think it'll fit really nicely into my work wardrobe, which is what one of my goals for this year was, to knit more things that I could wear to work, and feel kind of chic in. And sometimes the chic knitting is boring knitting, because I like to wear these kind of neutrals, but I like to knit with brights. But I can't, well, I can, I do like this bright colour, but for my everyday wardrobe, the brights are not it. The neutrals are it. I'm so happy to have that done. So that is my first finished object. Now, I do have another finished object, but I want to interject with a little surgery that I did here. So a little while ago, actually maybe 3 or 4 years ago, my god, I knit Jessie May Designs diaphanous raglan in this beautiful yarn from Beehive Yarns. It's her colour Tulle in a fingering weight and the mohair. And I knit, the diaphanous raglan has lots of different sleeve options, loads of different sleeve options. I chose these kind of puffy sleeves, and when I first knit it, I did not really realise how long my torso is, and so I knit it to pattern, and I measured and I thought it was bang on. And then I wore it, and it was just an inch or so too short. So it was fine if I was standing still, but I couldn't reach up without it really showing everything. It wasn't even just my midriff, it was up and out, and I didn't feel comfortable wearing it. So it sat in the back of my wardrobe for ages, and I debated whether or not to give it away. But then I found the yarn in my stash, my leftover yarn in my stash. And so what I did is I cut off the ribbing. I think I didn't cut all of it off. I think I cut, it's so seamless I can't even tell where I cut it, but I essentially cut the ribbing, added an extra 1.5 inches to it. Yeah, this is where I cut it. It's a very slight colour difference. Yeah, that's where I cut it, and added an extra inch, and that's perfect. But it's been too warm to wear mohair, so this is going to be a September option for work, definitely. It's kind of the same colour as my skin, so I don't know if that is going to look like I'm nude in the office at first glance. Hopefully not. But I'm so happy I did that. I was a bit nervous because pulling back mohair is notoriously hateful. But it wasn't too bad. It really wasn't too bad. All I did was pull off the bind off, snip off the bind off, and then add to it. And it was actually really enjoyable. And now it was honestly 1 inch, maybe 1.5 inches to make it a piece that I will wear very happily. So very much worth it. Very much worth the surgery for this beauty, and it's so soft. Do you remember I knit the cardigan in those purple stripy yarns? I can't remember what the pattern was. I think it was a Crayabea pattern. But I knit it in the purple stripes, and number 1 it looked like the Cheshire Cat, and number 2 that was my yarn choices 100%. And number 2, the mohair was it drops or knitting for Olive? I think it was drops. And it was, I couldn't wear it. I was itching so much. This one is a little bit itchy, but nowhere near where it was. I can wear this. It's just much softer than the drops one. So look at that yellow. So I would really recommend, if you're gonna do mohair and you don't know if you're a little sensitive to it, go with Beehive Yarns. It's beautiful. And she was so great. Whenever I ordered that years ago now, she checked in with me to see if it was a sweater I was knitting with it, because she had different dye lots in her stock and wanted to make sure that, so she dyed it fresh for me, which is just so thoughtful. You know that a yarn dyer is a knitter as well if they're asking you things like that. So that was my little surgery. I have another finished object. Oh yes. These are, it's been so long that these are, I think, the 2nd month of Helen Stewart's Handmade Sock Society. I got wild vocal fry today. I'm sure you can hear it. I need to do some sort of vocal exercises. No? You can tell I'm not a singer. Anyway, these are, what are these called? Let's find my pattern for you. These are they letterpress? These are the letterpress socks by Helen Stewart of Curious Handmade. Mine are of course purple. Easy peasy pattern. Anyone could knit this. If you know how to knit and you know how to purl, you can make this pattern. But it's so beautiful. It's made up of just little different places that you put your knits and purl stitches. So yeah, I loved knitting this. God, can you remember what the yarn is, Natalie? It's been that long since I finished these. And did I put it on Ravelry? I can't remember what my yarn is. It might be like old stash Ravelry. I don't think I put it on Ravelry. Fill in my password. Let's see. I have so much knitting admin to catch up on. Not very good, Natalie. No, of course I haven't written what yarn I use. I know that this is a Coop Knit Socks Yeah yarn. Their purple one. This one is deep stash. I don't know what this is, but I do know that I had 100 gram skein and I only used 50 grams of it, so I gave the other 50 grams to my friend who's in my little knitting group, who's also knitting the Helen Stewart socks. Since that pattern came out, this is the 2nd one. The 3rd month came out and I skipped it. I don't really like them. You can't win them all, and you know, the rest of them are beautiful. So one pattern that's not for me out of 5 or 6, that's okay with me. I'd say that's still pretty good. So there's my little Helen Stewart sock rolls and my other finished object. Okay, continuing the sock talk, I have a pair of socks that are almost done, and I haven't finished them because that was intentional, because these are going in my little sock gift pile for an unnamed recipient. These are the Will-o'-the-Wisp socks by This Handmade Life. I believe it's a free pattern. And they're just waiting on their heels. So it's a little shorty sock knit out of La Bien-Aimée, La Belle Époque is the colourway, and this was a random stash. I think this is, it might be Peaches and Cream or Strawberry Cream by Cascade, but I have both of them here, and I've tucked the yarn for the heels in the top, and this little set will go in my gift stash, which I quite like doing. I like, I have so many socks. So if I finish a little pair and I think, you know what, somebody would love these, but I don't know who yet, I'll keep them like this until I know who these are going to. I mean, I could just put the heels on and keep them, but I do want to build up that little stash of hand knit socks, so that if birthday season comes up and somebody's going to get a little pair. So that is a free pattern. I've knit this sock 3 or 4 times now. It's a lovely pattern. Very simple lace, very nice to, you can see it very nicely on variegated yarn, as you can see. It doesn't really distract from, actually it's like soft striping, isn't it? So nice. So I think I used most of this. I think maybe I have 20 grams left of this main colour. So that is going in my little gift stash. Okay, I have so many whips. I actually have so many whips that I want to talk to you about it. I have some active whips that I have here. But Boston Jen of the Down Cellar Studio podcast, as you might know, runs the Pigskin Party knit along, make along, that runs for the whole football season in America. I have no interest in football. I have, you know, minimal experience of American football, but I don't really have any interest in sport. But I do have an interest in knitting, and I do have an interest in earning points and being a little competitive. And also, I like the little community aspect of that. You get put into a team, you knit. Every yard that you use gets counted up. It all gets calculated in this Excel sheet for you, so you don't have to think too hard about it. And there are little challenges. I actually won a prize at one point last year. So that kicks off in September. But whips are not allowed because it's a 5-month knit along. So that means I need to get some whips off the needles so that they count for this, because obviously everything I knit from September onwards has to count towards this competition, otherwise it would be a waste of time. So I have about a month. I have less than a month, because it is now the 10th of August and I have some knitting to do, some serious knitting. So I'll show you my active whips, and then I think I might, don't hold me to it, but I might go through a little rundown of all my whips and see if they're whips that I think I can finish, whips that I think I should go to sleep for a long time into hibernation, or whips that I should frog. I've already frogged one whip, but I recast it on. So let's go into my active whips. Let me see. Now, let me just line them all up here for us. My desk, and loosely categorize them. So, oh yeah. Okay, not too bad, not too bad. I feel like there's more. Yeah, I definitely feel like there's more. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6 whips. Okay, let's go with the newest and the most exciting. Have I shown you this pack before? This is a Can Do Sews pattern that I made myself. It's not obviously not made very well, because look, I need to fix that. Don't look too closely. This is a Liberty fabric. This is some sort of cream, slightly heavier linen-y type thing. And in this project is a very special blanket for my best friend. Now, Melissa, look away. Look away, please, if you don't want this to be spoiled. So my best friend Melissa is having another baby. And you might remember last year I knit her first baby, Amelia, a blanket. And Amelia loves her blanket. So much so that Amelia won't be sharing her blanket with her new little sibling. And so I have been charged to cast on another one. So I'm doing something different. Last time I crocheted a little hexagon blanket. This time I'm doing some garter squares in like a kind of patchwork, and she's having a little boy. So Melissa loves her autumnal colours, so of course they're going to be included. And some of these yarns I included in Amelia's blanket, so they will match little sibling blankets. But I'm basically making it up. I did get inspired by the jelly roll pattern, but I don't like the whole essence of the pattern is that they look like those long strips from like jelly roll packets from quilting, and I don't like the long strips. Look, I like them to be square, like patchwork. So I got inspired by that, but I'm using the techniques from the fragmentation shawl to knit these. So I think I cast on, I think it's what, 27 stitches across. Oh, I've dropped one. Get you back on. 27 stitches across, and I just go until it is a nice little square, and I'm mixing up the colours. Obviously there's a purple in there for his Auntie Lally. And so yeah, this is going to be, I think, the width of the blanket, which is quite a good size. And then I'll just keep going until I run out of yarn. This is a lot of stash yarn, a lot of minis. Some of them I've knit socks out of this one, and I knit my bendy arrow out of this one. I knit socks out of, you know, it's slightly a memory blanket for me too, because I remember the patterns that I've knit with them. So I have lots of yarn in here, and they're all kind of autumnal and greens is the vibe we're going for. And I'm knitting fingering weight yarn on 3.75 double pointed needles. So that's the first exciting whip. That is not going to be finished by the time the pigskin party starts. But actually one of the rules is if you're making a blanket, you can count the smaller sections of the blanket. So maybe that will count some of it, not all of it. So that's good. First whip. Second whip. Second whip, I frogged a finished tank top that I knit. You might remember last year I knit a Tolsta tank in drops cotton, and the Tolsta is knit at a loose gauge, so it is quick. And so I knit it up, and I haven't worn it since. Every time I put it on, I took it off again. I didn't like it. The yarn was not the right choice for it. The yarn is heavy because it's a DK cotton yarn. It was too heavy for the item. I think knitting at a loose gauge should be a nice light and airy yarn, and this cotton was not it. So it was just sitting in my drawers, my chest of drawers, and I thought, I'm not wearing that because it's not summer. And then summer rolled around and I still was not wearing it. It's actually because I hated it. So I frogged that, and I cast on, this is the fragmentation bralette. So I've already knit one of these. I'll show you my original. You might remember if you've watched the podcast. This is a pattern by Jessie My Designs. This is knit out of Pixie yarns in her Hey Little Apple Blossom fade. So I got a DK fade, I knit a spring sorrel in it, and I had leftover yarn, and I knit this in the leftovers. Now, same story with this one. It is too short for my torso. I need an extra inch on here, and I don't have any of this yarn left. and it's knit from the bottom up, so I don't really know what I'm gonna do. I think maybe this one will have some surgery in the future. I think if I can find something that's one of these colours, because this is so beautifully speckled, or actually I could look on her website to see if she has any left. I don't think she does, but I can find something similar to this and add a couple of inches on. But this is beautiful. I love this. I love the fade. It's so cute. You knit it inside out, so you knit the knitting side is the side you see most of all, and then you turn it inside out for the stockinette, which looks so pretty with the fade. I really like it. So that is my first fragmentation top. No, not fragmentation. Framework bralette top. I learnt from the mistakes of that, and I knit this one slightly longer. So, of course I'm in the middle of knitting a cup, so you can't actually see. Silly. And it's black yarn, so I'm not sure you're really going to be able to see. And I have an inside out. Hang on. Here is my fragmentation. Not fragmentation. Framework bralette in the cotton. Oh yeah, you can see there. So it looks a bit rough because my ends haven't been woven in yet. This is a really cheap yarn. It's like £1.50, £1.65 per 50 gram ball. Really affordable. I much prefer this dense gauge. I like the reverse stockinette. I really like it. I really prefer this gauge to the one that I got with the Tolsta. Feels nicer, sturdier. I knit this at least one size smaller than my usual because I want negative ease with this top. I don't want it to be loose, so you can see this is very long. It's like an inch and a half longer than the other one because I don't want to have to pick it out and do it again. So longer torso. This is still the torso. Kind of goes around your bust, this part. And now I'm doing the cups, which are not really cups. They're more like just little triangles that sit at the top. Like if you think of how your bra is, it's a little triangular pieces at the top. So I've started on working the first one. You just work 4 of those, and then a little I-cord. Not an I-cord. Is it an I-cord? A little strap at the top. So this should be done pretty soon. I'd say I could get this finished in a weekend. But that is getting a new lease of life in a little bag that I sewed. A cute little pin. I don't know where that's from. I'm going to have to go and look at my autumn fabric choices. I do have some autumnal bags that I've sewed before, but I do like to do a little themed. We're still in summer, so we're in the summery bags, but I like my little themed bags. So that is my other top that is on the needles. It's my only top on the needles at the moment, which is good. Next project is, because I was craving a little bit of colour work, I cast on a little hot water bottle cover. A little summery one. Oh, it's so cute. So it's not very far. It's using just little scraps. Done little hearts. These are little lemons, and now I'm going into little strawberries. And it's, I can't remember what the next charts are, but it's kind of summery, cute. These are the doodles from Pacific Knit Co. I can't remember what packs I used specifically, but I'll link it below the specific ones. I have almost all of her doodle charts. You know I love these. And I was just craving a little doodle, and I wanted a little bright hot water bottle cover. Even though it's coming into autumn, and I should probably do a little seasonal one for each. But here's my bright one that I was working on in a little project bag that I made. Most of these yarns are from a mini skein set from, not that brown, from Beehive Yarns, of course. Who else? This is one of my, I think this is June. It was a summery one last year, maybe July, from Beehive, her club. So last year I got the mini skein set. This year, as you know, I'm getting the 50-gram skeins. So it's nice to put some of those to use in that little bag. I haven't touched that in a little while, actually. I need to think about what I'm going to actually get finished before September the 4th. So I have two. There's definitely another sock. There is. Let me go and get it. Okay, Neil, you can cut out the thundering around the house. I have 3 pairs of socks and the needles. All in little handmade bags by me. Boom, boom, boom. Please don't ask me to sell these. I hate sewing. I was looking for painkillers. Okay, this is my work project. I'm in meetings so much of the week, and most of these meetings are meetings that I have to run, which means I can't just passively sit and knit through them like I used to. So these are going to take a long time to finish, but these are a pair of socks for Neil, and they are West Yorkshire Spinners in the colour Robin. This one, I always forget how long to knit Neil's socks for. I must check it against one of his own socks, but I reckon probably that for the leg, and then his foot is long. Of course it is. So that is the first sock on the go. This is 72 stitches on a 2.5mm needle, and I just cast on the cuff, and I just knit until the colour changed. So it didn't really matter how many. I didn't really count how many. I just knit until it did a full repeat. So that's a pair of socks on the go for Neil. Whenever I do get a couple of moments to just knit some stitches in work, that's what goes on these. These, I don't know if these will be ready for Christmas at this stage, but they will get done eventually. So that is sock number 1, sock whip number 1. Sock whip number 2 is another little plain sock. This gorgeous colour is a sock set that I got from Lonely Mountain Yarns, who I think is on a little pause. She had a little baby, and so I'm sure she's in her little maternity bubble. She had a little baby a wee while ago. How old is her little baby now? I don't know. She gave her the most beautiful name. I'm not telling you because she hasn't told people. Gorgeous. It's called Lobster Pot. It's so summery, and I thought to myself, this has been sitting in my stash. I have to have it for summer. So at the minute they're for me. They might still go into my little gift pile, but I've cast on the second sock. I haven't put my heel on these yet, and I've just finished the cuff yesterday. Here it is in the skein, and here is the mini. Oh, so gorgeous. Love it so much. So that is the sock that lives in my bedside table, which is why I forgot about it, because I have to have, like, what if I'm like can't sleep and I need a little knitting project, and I don't want to go and wake the house up by going to find one, so I keep this in my bedside table. And then this one lives in my car. No, it should live in my car. I cast it on because I needed something plain to knit when I was going somewhere. I can't remember where. And I needed something plain. I didn't have anything plain, so I cast on. Ooh, they look so good in the camera. This is a yarn that my friend, do you remember I went on our little yarn retreat with some yarny friends and we booked a wee Airbnb and we did a little yarn swap? I got this from her. It is Bella Lana Marathon Strumpf und Sport Superwash. So it's a 75-25 with nylon in it. And I don't know what the colorway is. Maybe 410. This is not in English, so I'm struggling. I don't even know where she bought this. It's in a different country, I think. But I thought it was going to sell striped, but it's not. It's pulling with like little dots. It's really cool. So this is going to live in my car because I got caught out today with no knitting. Very unlike me. How am I going to get any of these done if I don't knit them? So those are my sock whips. Now, I don't know if I'm going to get any of those finished before September. Those are not the main priorities because I don't mind if they go and languish a little bit. Shouldn't say that about nails. I forgot to put this away. But I don't mind if they languish. What I do mind is the bigger projects that I have on the go. And I'll talk about this more in the other video that I may or may not film. I hope I do. But I have some projects. Of course I have some projects. I have some sweaters on the needles that are so much knitting and won't count unless I finish them and get them off the needles. Because if I don't finish them before September, then I won't wear them. So I have reached for this. This is my Hohi & Co. bucket bag with Grocery Girls crossover that I did years ago, and in it is my Yule sweater, which, if you'll remember, is the Christmas sweater that I tried to knit in a month and then I got a job, and so that went out the window. But it is so close to being done. So here it is in all of its glory. It's knit out of Cascade Yarns. I think this is macadamia, the main colour. It's not really my skin tone friendly, but it's too late now. And then these were Stash. I think this is Ink Pot by Skin Queen. And then I don't know what this yellow is. I don't know what it is. It was in Stash. I had half a sleeve on this. And last night I put this sleeve back. I put this sleeve on. Look at my little charm, what's it called? Stitch marker from Castle View Crafts. I put the sleeve, the rest of the sleeve on last night, and I'm well into the next sleeve. So she's gonna be done. She is gonna be done. I could blast through, I could really try my hardest. Put a good at least 2 hours on this tonight and see how close I get. That's how much I've left to do. See how far 2 hours. I've been watching The Gilded Age on Sky. It is made by the same people who made Downton Abbey. I love Downton Abbey. I watched it and I was like, this isn't Downton Abbey. This makes me sad. But now I've given it a little breather and now I'm back to watching it and I actually love it. And it makes me want to reread Edith Wharton's Age of Innocence, which I think I do have in stash in my library, whatever that's called, my books. So I'm watching that. So I think 3 episodes of that will get that finished. So that could be tonight's plans. It is, oh, it's 10 to 7. I could finish this by tomorrow evening. That could be done. So that's good. I've got renewed energy to finish this off. I do have some duplicate stitching to do because the colour work was so spread apart. So I don't mind doing that in September, whatever. But the bulk of the knitting, I want that to be done before we go. Is that my last whip I wanted to talk about? It is. So yeah, that's nearly done. And then I'll pick another whip that has been languishing. I have quite a few. I might do a controversial frog. Okay, I have a little bit of yarn to share with you. I have a little bit more in the mail that hasn't arrived yet. Just 2 skeins. But it hasn't arrived, so you'll have to see that next time. Fussle. So I, as you know, get the Beehive Yarns Club. I think it's called Season Spell this year. I get 2 50-gram skeins, and I haven't knit any of it yet. I'm planning to do a blanket. That'll probably be my January cast on. I'll wait and collect all the yarn and then I'll do the blanket. So I have 2 months to show you. So I'm pretty sure these are not spoilers for you. First month is June. Here's our little card. So June is this one. And here are the skeins. Now of course I'm getting them in sparkle. Is that not the most beachy, beautiful vibe? So pretty. So that's my June. And I have July. No, July is not my vibe. But you just put it out there, it's not my vibe. That's our inspo. One of them is my vibe, the other one not so much. So this might be a sport. No, it's the 10th of August. So this, love that. This is not, that's not. Just not for me. I love this soft blue. Gorgeous. So it's fine. It's like one colour out of the whole year that isn't my vibe. But I love this. So I don't know. Maybe once I see all my colours together, maybe I will still put it in the blanket. It'll still work. I trust Beth and her vision. But if I don't like it, then I don't have to put it in. And I can actually give it to one of my little friends in my knitting group. So those are my clubs for June and July. This is what's coming up, August and September. Ooh. So we'll see. I love getting this club. I've got her club. This is the 3rd year going now. I love her yarn. I love her colours. They're never samey. There's always something different, something fresh. Really worth it. I really like her club. And I like all their different options that she gives. There's a sock set option, a mini skein option, and then that option this year. And I love it. Okay, one more yarny thing. When was the last time? Oh yeah, so been to a couple of Castle SB events. Inspiring Yarns, who used to be, well, part of them used to be Giddy Aunt Yarns. They are a kind of fibre collective type thing who really advocate for mental health in the community. And they try and I'm not doing a very good pitch for them. Basically, they try and bring the fibre arts to people who maybe don't have access to them, who have never really thought about crafting before, but who struggle with their mental health and who need some sort of community. They're really big advocates for good mental health and marrying their fibre pursuits with supporting people in their mental health journeys. And so they are also very collaborative with local artists, and they have put on a couple of events. They did have one quite big art project that involved embroidery and lots of different crafts, and they had an exhibition at Castle Espy a couple of weeks ago. So my little knitting group, we all got together and went to see that, and they had a couple of stalls with some fibres and inspiring yarns. Not only did they dye their own yarn, but they also stock different yarns too. And so I picked up a Mondine, my first Mondine. I've heard it, it's Retrosaria Rosa Pomar, and Mondine is her sock yarn. I think it's Portuguese. Yeah, it's Portuguese. Non-superwash sock weight yarn, made from fine Portuguese wool, and it's specifically for socks but with no nylon in it. So I picked up this beautiful, it's kind of like a sunset rainbow or like an autumnal rainbow. It's hard to really describe this. There's so many, there's like blues and greens and oranges and reds, but it's very warm toned. I couldn't resist it. I thought it was beautiful. So the colour is M96, and I got that in the Inspiring Yarns booth. They had some beautiful colours. So I'd always wanted my hands on a skein of this, and now I have it. It will go in my little stash of sock yarns. So I think I was very restricted with my purchasing. Do you want to hear one silly thing that I had to repurchase and I'm raging about it? It just came today. In 2021, I'd been knitting for years. I started in when? Started crochet in 2015. Started knitting in 2017. Been knitting for years. 2021, I thought I need some light bulb stitch markers, so I bought 750 from Amazon. And of course I have not used them all. Can I find my box? No, I cannot. Nowhere in this house. I have searched high and low for this box of stitch markers and I can't find it, so I had to buy it again. And of course it's like twice the price now because cost of living. So I had to buy some stitch markers. It's annoying, and I could have bought a smaller pack, but I like having all these colours because I like to match my stitch marker to my project. So I had to buy these. Annoying. Don't support Amazon. I know I try not to. You know, there's no such thing as an ethical billionaire. Anyway, that's neither here nor there. That's all my knitting. Should we talk about some books? Because I've been really getting into my reading. Let's have a little chit chat about that. Let me find my Goodreads because I read a really great book. I'm a big advocate of using your local library. I love the Libby app. I love the Libby app. You can listen to audiobooks there for free, and you can borrow, I think it's 19 books at one go, which is insane. So let's find out what I have been reading. Just the notables. Let's see. Challenge details? No. Yes. Challenge details. Let's go see what books I've read. Okay. This book is so good. It's called All the Colours of the Dark by Whitaker. It's hard to explain what it's about without spoiling it. So, very slight spoiler here. You find out if you read like anything about the book. Basically, it's the 70s and girls are being abducted. And a boy witnesses the attempt to abduct this girl, and he runs into the scene and tries to stop it from happening, and he gets taken himself. And so the book is the aftermath of that. technically it's a crime novel, crime mystery, but it is so much more than that. It spans decades after that. It follows these people's lives. It's so good. It's well written. It has a vernacular voice. I was really hooked on it. The audiobook I think was like 22 hours long, and I listened to that at the normal speed. Usually I at least up the speed at least 1.25 just to kind of hurry them up a bit. I listened to this at normal speed, and I binged it. I loved it. I was absolutely hooked. I got shock reveals, and you do have to pay attention to it, because the way he reveals plot is not da-da-da. He says it very quietly, and this is what's happening, and you're like, wait, what? Did I hear that right? And then he moves on. So it's so subtle, it's so good, it's so satisfying. I really enjoyed it. The characters are complex. There's not just one good character or bad character. There's so much mixed in there, and they have to make hard decisions, and they are put in impossible positions. And I've read the reviews and people are like, this will never happen. I find it very believable. I really enjoyed it. So I would really recommend that. Loved it. It's called All the Colours of the Dark by Chris Whitaker. That's one of the ones that I've read most recently that I loved. The two books that I'm reading at the minute are, one is a reread of Toni Morrison's Beloved. I love this so much. I read this very quickly, I think in 2 sittings the first time, and I recommended it to a couple of people in work, and they started to read it, and I thought, well, if you're reading it, I need to reread it again so we can talk about it. They were not expecting what it's about. So if you haven't heard of Toni Morrison, she won a Nobel Prize for Literature. Beloved is probably her most famous novel. I'll read you the blurb, right? It is the mid-1800s, and as slavery looks to be coming to an end, Setha is haunted by the violent trauma it wrought on her former enslaved life at Sweet Home, Kentucky. Her dead baby daughter, whose tombstone bears the single word beloved, returns as a spectre to punish her mother, but also to elicit her love. Told with heart-stopping clarity, melding horror and beauty, Beloved is Toni Morrison's enduring masterpiece. Oh, it's beautiful. It is beautiful. I love it. It's absolutely harrowing. The horror in it it's not, there's a supernatural element to it, but the horror is very much man-made. And how these things could have happened to people, and how people could have done this to people, is just, read this book. It's so good, so moving, so powerful. I really love it. So that is a reread. And then another one that I am reading is One Flew Over the Cuckoo's Nest by Kesey. Because I haven't really seen the movie. I've seen like bits and pieces. You kind of grow up and you can't not see bits and pieces. But I really wanted to read it, and I was really interested in the background to the author. The author was like 24 when this was published, 23. He worked as a psychiatric nurse when he was really young, and he also, I think, took part in the LSD like trials that America did on people, where they just gave them a load of drugs and see if they could control their minds. Yeah, he was a psychiatric nurse in the 50s, in his very early 20s, and also was doing those drug trials and wrote this book. And it's full, this edition is full of his sketches from when he was there. It's just fascinating. It is just fascinating. I'm really enjoying it. But it's hard to get into. It's not one that I'm really... I have to take a lot of breaks reading it. So I think it's because I'm reading it late at night, and it's not really a late at night kind of book. Neither's Beloved, to be fair. Oh, I should do a picture. But it's just... So yeah, I'm reading that too. I'm also listening to a Grady Hendrix novel. Grady Hendrix can be hit and miss. This is Witchcraft for Wayward Girls. I listened to Southern Book Club's Guide to Slaying Vampires. Loved it. Loved the narrator. Thought they were very funny. Loved it. And then I listened to another one after that, and it wasn't for me. It was about a brother and sister fighting over a house that their parents died in or something. But the brother and sister, both of them were so unbearable that I couldn't listen to it. But this one's good. It gives like American Horror Story vibes. It's similar to that. So I'm listening to that. And I think that's everything from me. I've talked so much. My voice is kind of... So yeah, I've no biz. Well, we're just back from seeing our new niece. Neil's brother and his wife had a little baby. So we've been visiting and falling in love with the newest member of the family. And apart from that, everyone's good. Henry's good. Neil's good. He's been doing a lot of drumming recently. Raising a lot of money for transgender charities with his band. So that's cool. His band is the new normal. If anyone's into punk. Yeah, I have a wee bit of a mess to tidy up here. And also some projects to frog. So I'm gonna go and do that. Thank you so much for joining me and listening to me ramble. Love you so much. Keep knitting. Look after yourself.